It all started somewhere above the clouds, 35,000 feet in the air, with a simple seat assignment, and a choice that revealed the very core of a man's character. When Flight 762 from Denver to Atlanta began boarding, no one expected a confrontation. Least of all her. She just wanted to get home. Quietly, without stares, without judgment. But what happened next turned an ordinary flight into a moment the crew and the passengers would never forget. Fade to black. Then, he refused to sit by the disabled woman. Then the airline pilot gave her first class and thanked her. Her name was Megan, 34, teacher, spina bifida survivor. She walked with braces, a cane, some days crutches, but always with dignity, always with a smile that didn't ask for pity, just space to breathe. It had taken her years to learn to travel alone again. Airports weren't friendly to people who moved differently. She was used to the whispers, the glances, the seat switches, but that day, the rejection was louder than she had ever felt it. She arrived early, as always. Gate 14B, window seat. Boarding Group B aisle seats were tough. People didn't always help her up. She liked the window. She liked watching the clouds. She dragged her small roller carry-on, politely declined help from the flight attendant. Not because she didn't need it, but because she hated the feeling of being a burden. As she reached row 19, she saw her seat and a man already in the aisle. Tall, mid-40s, trim beard, designer laptop bag. He looked at her once. Then again, his lips tightened. And then he said it. "I'm not sitting there." There was a pause. Not the kind of pause where someone hesitates, but the kind where time freezes, because nobody knows what to say. The flight attendant, still helping another passenger a few rows back, didn't hear it at first, but the woman in 19C did. She glanced up, then looked away. Megan's voice barely rose above the hum of the cabin. "Excuse me?" she said, thinking maybe he'd misunderstood, but he didn't stutter, didn't correct himself. Just shook his head. "I'm not sitting next to that." His words dropped like lead. She blinked. Was he serious? He raised his voice. "Just enough for others to hear. I paid for comfort. I don't want to be squished next to someone who takes extra room. This isn't fair to me." Megan didn't move. Her knuckles tightened around the seat back. Her voice caught in her throat. 1,000 comebacks crashing against years of exhaustion. The attendant returned just in time to see the man pulling his laptop bag back into the aisle. "Sir, is there a problem?" "Yes," he said loudly. "I'd like another seat. I'm not sitting there." And just like that, the cabin went quiet. Not one voice, not one offer, just rows of passengers, pretending to look at their phones. Megan stood there, her cheeks burning, not from embarrassment, but shame, a shame she didn't deserve. No one made eye contact, not the man in the seat behind, not the older woman up front. The only sound was the man tapping his foot impatiently. The flight attendant cleared her throat. "Sir, there are no upgrades available. Everyone has assigned seating." "Then I'll wait," he snapped. "I'm not moving until you fix it." The captain had just stepped out of the cockpit to check the final passenger count. He overheard the tension before he saw the source. He turned the corner into the aisle just as Megan quietly sat down by the window, refusing to cry, refusing to let him win. The pilot glanced at the man standing in the aisle, and then at Megan. "Everything all right here?" he asked. The attendant opened her mouth, but Megan shook her head. "It's fine," she whispered, her voice cracked. The pilot paused, looked closer. His jaw tensed, but he didn't raise his voice. "Miss, would you mind coming with me for a moment?" Her heart skipped. Was she being moved? Was she the problem now? She nodded slowly. Gripping the headrest, she stood up with effort. She felt every pair of eyes on her back, but not the man's. He was already sitting down, smug. The pilot led her forward, past rows of indifferent strangers. He didn't say much, just walked quietly until they reached the front. Then he opened the curtain and pointed. "That's seat 1A. First class." Megan froze. "Captain, I don't—" But he held up a hand. "Miss, on behalf of my crew, this seat is yours. You handled yourself with dignity back there, and it's about time someone honored that." She blinked. Her knees felt weak, but not from her condition. From disbelief. "Thank you," she whispered. "But why?" He smiled. "Because real strength should never be punished. It should be recognized." As the plane lifted into the sky, Megan sat in silence. The cabin crew brought her tea, a warm blanket, a window full of clouds, and when the flight landed in Atlanta, she waited until most had deboarded. As she made her way down the aisle, crutches in hand, the man from row 19 didn't even look at her. But the pilot stood by the cockpit, and as she passed, he nodded. "Keep walking tall," he said quietly. She smiled, and this time, someone in coach clapped. Sometimes it's not about making a scene, it's about standing still when the world wants you to shrink. Megan didn't raise her voice, didn't retaliate, but her quiet dignity echoed louder than outrage. And somewhere between Denver and Atlanta, the sky bore witness to the truth. Respect doesn't come from seats or status. It comes from the courage to sit, even when others won't. If this story touched you, let us know in the comments. Have you ever witnessed an unexpected moment of kindness or courage? We'd love to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories that restore your faith in humanity. And remember, even in a world full of noise, your quiet strength can speak volumes.